Now, with regard to energy, we here in D.C., in fact, I was late coming into the radio studio today because the winds were so insane that our lines on our home, this 30-year-old boat that we live on, were stretched out to the point where you could hardly step over onto the dock. And it was kind of scary, and I had to retie the lines and stuff in this huge wind. It was insane. But it also knocked out the lights, knocked out the electricity to Washington, D.C. last night. That's crazy. I mean, it's time for America to leave the 19th century behind and, keep the lights on. Last night, the U.S. Capitol building and a whole bunch of other D.C. landmarks went dark because of wind gusts that were 55 miles an hour or thereabouts, and they knocked out power for thousands of people around D.C. In fact, it's been happening. I mean, you can echo this all the way back to the Midwest. As of 10 o'clock last night, just here in D.C., in the metro area, you had 5,000 people in the dark, and it was really cold. It was 24, maybe 28 degrees. It was below freezing last night. So now we have, mass power outages all over our country. They're becoming more and more frequent. Why? Because we've got this ancient electrical infrastructure. I mean, in some cases, we have electrical infrastructure that, at least in its first incarnations, was put into place literally by Thomas Edison. We're using the model that Edison and Westinghouse and Tesla created of giant centralized power stations that then distribute that electricity over, huge areas, sometimes cities, sometimes states, sometimes even blocks of states. And this is not a good idea for a whole bunch of reasons. First, it makes us vulnerable to the sort of cyber attack that we perpetrated on Iran when malware that we developed with Israel took down their nuclear centrifuges. Somebody could take down our electric grids this way. Second, it's incredibly inefficient. Nearly 2/3 of the fuel burned to generate electricity is lost in the generation and delivery process. In other words, our electric power system operates at 33% efficiency. And we lose 5% of all the electricity generated through what are called line losses. Electricity that gets burned up through radiative or resistive losses through long-distance high-tension wires. It radiates out into space, or it heats up the wires. In either case, it doesn't make it to your house, right? It's gone. And third, a centralized system like this centralizes both political power and money, wealth, in the hands of a very few companies and individuals who then use that power and that wealth to lobby for laws that help them keep their monopoly or near monopoly status. There was a federal analysis that was done a year or so ago that just got declassified recently or leaked. I'm not sure which it was. And what this analysis done by the federal government said was that the U.S. could suffer a coast-to-coast blackout for weeks, maybe even months, if terrorists took down just 9 of the 55,000 electric transmission substations on a hot summer day. 9 of them. Shut down most of the country. The study was conducted by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, and it was released last summer, distributed to the White House, Congress, and a bunch of federal agencies. And it said that if just 9 substations were knocked out by a coordinated attack, the nation's entire electrical grid could be down for 18 months or more, because some of this equipment is like huge and very difficult to replace. And this is all because we're still operating with an electrical system that's been in place since the late 19th century, when just a few electrical companies provided electricity for most of the United States. It's a model that leads to fragility. It's a model that leads to more blackouts, more brownouts, more nights in the dark, more inefficiency. But why do we still have it? Well, because it concentrates political power and wealth in the hands of a very few. The downside, of course, is that it makes everybody else more vulnerable to power loss and monopoly-driven high prices. We need to go from that model of fragility, this fragile system, to a system that's resilient, that limits blackouts, that ends cold nights spent in the dark. So how do we get there? There's a really simple principle in biology. Resilience requires diversity. It requires a wide variety, in the case of energy providers across America on the local and community levels, and a wide variety of different forms of energy. It requires that every home and building become a power generating station itself. Think about it like this. A forest is an incredibly diverse environment. In a forest, there are hundreds of species of plants and animals. If that forest were to suddenly face some kind of severe weather event, monsoons, a drought, it would definitely take a hit. But because of the diversity of that forest, a diversity that creates resilience, it would make it through. Now compare that forest to a 5,000-acre wheat field. 5,000 acres of wheat is not diverse at all. It's basically just wheat. So if that wheat field faces a flood or a drought, everything gets wiped out. There's not enough diversity, plants and animals, to bring it back to life. Right now, America is that wheat field. We need to be the forest. We need to get more diverse in the forms of energy that we use and in the number of providers that we have. In fact, we all need to become providers ourselves. Some countries like Germany have already figured this out. In Germany, solar panels are all, they're on the roofs of every house in the country, not every, but at least a third of the houses in the country and businesses. Germany is the cloudiest country in Europe, but still, one day last May, they provided solar power, provided 40% of all the electricity consumed in that country. Cities, towns, even homes across Germany rely on a local energy generation instead of a national grid. And the German government has set a goal for solar power and other renewable sources to make up 80% of their total electricity production by 2050. We're as smart and innovative as Germany. I mean, hell, we invented most of the technologies involved in solar power systems. And that's just solar power. Wind power, geothermal, all of these things are growing. Bottom line here, we have to break away from our addiction to 19th century big energy and break up the $220 billion electric industry so that a few monopolistic companies no longer control us.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
If we do that, we save money, it makes us safer, it makes us more resilient, and it radically reduces greenhouse gases. Come on, America, we can keep the lights on.